This is the first poem from a new poetry book. The book is titled The Young Heart's Engraving, and the first poem shares a title with the title of the book. So here it goes. Poem number 1 from The Young Heart's Engraving, which is also titled The Young Heart's Engraving. Succumbing beneath the teeth of a vicious animal, which tears us to shreds, unable to move as it seems. We shall be victims of its cruelty, and we will never die. The city flows dark with shadows, and outside our walls with flame. My morning coffee, morning news of hellfire, of the weight of immeasurable torment, the gospel of the sword, the kingdom I drift away from forever. My young heart had an engraving in it, struck by the hand of God, in whose patient hand I rest. My veins run forever with warm memories of my father who lived outside these walls, which we erected around our nation. Now he has succumbed to the same beast in the fire that he breathed. This fire began with words, and by the dimming of the light within a heart, a gospel that was forgotten, swelling inside yet the anthem unsung. Dreams are of no use except for granting us a few brief moments in which we can contemplate life in a world away from the dragon, where we no longer listen to him and no longer fear him. Our minds were limitless. Our arms are always tied behind our backs. We struggle and sway, but never have a foundation to grant us stability, never enough solid ground to stand, and all we will do is sink. And my father came to me in my dreams, and he told me of the engraving on my heart. He told me that sometimes within this nation there are those who will believe what they are told, and no force will ever let them change their minds. When confronted with truth, they lash out with violence. My peace inside my heart follows me wherever I go. No matter how far down I sink, and God only knows if there is a bottom to this cave. My heart came alive and invigorated me, but no one could read its language, and its voice was unread. Somewhere its story was told, but these truths were taken by the police while I was protesting and thrown away. The crowds sleep in their apartments, the city ripe for the taking. My brother forced to fight against his neighbors, but he threw his arms into the mouth of the dragon, which consumed him in its fiery burst explosion. I was separated but not alone. I was rife with sins that would never be confessed. My heart grew anxious and weary, and looked for a place of rest. Greeted always by angels who conversed with me, but my message only ascended up toward the sky, and my neighbors would never hear. Ashes in my mind would never end. My whole heart was warmed by memories of nights together with friends. The park, the bar now in ruins, the world of my younger years now vanquished. My heart left a trail across this city, which led to books I read only in dreams. But when I arrived there, they were burned, and I could only discern their ashes, and all these ashes told an entirely different story. If the world of my youth had taught me anything, it was a proverb, that friends should be held so close, and love runs thick like blood through eternal veins. I had lived so long outside these city walls, and then we went back inside, but we were never allowed to leave again. My friends in Ukraine were dead, as far as I could tell. The fire of the dragon was hot enough to burn metal, and precious souls into the same stuff. Precious lives broken, nightmares were all that was left of our world. On the Sunday of Judgment Day, we had become the ones asking for the heads of the prophets on a silver platter. Tanks rolling in and bombs shelling schools. My ink ran red across the world, and the poetry was invisible to all. Those who did not share my heart in the engraving my father wrote on it. In my youth, God composed the message with care, and my father engraved it on my heart of gold. I swear to God, I once knew what was beautiful in this world. I understood these statues of a violent past were only here to be overthrown, and burned up in their time. The warnings from heaven were all ignored. The last hymn of my heart had a flavor of gold, and a warmth of family, an echo and a certain ring that filled the halls of the world. My warrior poet's soul grew out from the soil and reached forever toward heaven. And mocked the red dragon, "Speak my language, unjam the locks on the door of the library of my heart." Its vast wealth open for all to experience and to read. My days always led to nights in which I could not sleep, but instead would write, experience and attempt to share, though stifled at every corner. Whenever I lifted my voice, high for all to see, nights in prison, still I would write letters to friends and family who passed away on these walls. The greatest of these letters was addressed to my father who led me, with the light of the Orthodox faith, to be the woman I am today, courageous in leading all those who cannot see on their own, out of the darkness and into the light, to a peaceful and silent shores, where we can rest and hear the only voice we will ever hear. This belongs solely to God, driving forever into the sunset, and then sleeping beneath the stars. My heart's engraving not burning and shining unstoppable, and read by all helpless souls in the world, breathing courage into immobilized hearts, the push to stand and move. Here I find my courage, my peace, and my destiny is to rise up, holding these words high above my head for the whole world to see. Hidden messages in code, which the police won't understand, but you will. The in-between your heart and mine, there is concordance, and we forget how quickly we have fallen victim to changing times.